Keep moving, got to keep on moving on. Keep going on, got to keep on moving on.
All can make it
In life,
you got to get focused.
Keep on moving,
Sky
move
is the
on.
limit.
You got to get there, keep moving, keep marching on.
You can make it
In life,
you got to get focused.
Keep on moving,
Sky is the limit.
You got to get there, keep moving, keep marching on.
Keep on moving.
Keep moving, keep marching on.
About time when we bring you matters concerning disabilities. Today on the show, we focus on the institutions
that are embracing the disability-friendly policies and ensuring that persons with disabilities are at home away from home. I'm your host, Ruth Mweni.
And me, Jairus Ongeta.
Welcome.
Keep moving, keep marching on.
In order to highlight the unique opportunities that people with disabilities have, USIU Africa organized a sign language contest. This was to recognize the deaf culture and to appreciate sign language as the third national language.
One of the institutions that are at the forefront in addressing matters disability is the USIU Africa. Recently, the Sign Language Club held a sign language contest.
Will crown the fairest matter, how school we love so deep, for thee we'll ever labor to keep thee on thy throne. O USIU of Africa, thou reignest alone, thou reignest alone.
I came here today to celebrate the Sign Language Club, the USIU. Because one, we have worked with their members, we have been partners, especially the organizer of the event. And secondly, we took it as an opportunity to bring our students on board. And before the event even started, we have gone around the institution and they have got a lot of experience. They have gone to the library, they have seen the way the catalog is handled, the way the security of the books and the environment for learning. We also took them around to the deans of the student center, to the gym, the aerobics. And this one was to kind of escalate their hand, to work hand, and so that they can maybe in future join either this institution or any other university.
Our work involves the sign language. This is a sign language group. So to me, it is very key to know what's happening and to see them being embraced in a club. To me, it's a step forward. So I really appreciate being part of this, and I appreciate being part of whatever the deaf or we call them hearing impaired. Wherever they are, whatever they are doing, it also affects what we are doing.
This was one of its kind as members graced the stage to compete in sign language.
Love everybody like there is no tomorrow and give to others the joy of life.
It's meant to be fun and it's meant to expose students to the various values that the deaf have. So we have invited a deaf school to the event, and so we'll have the deaf students and we'll have the normal listening students, normal hearing students from USIU. When they interact, they will really get to know their perspective and how they live and how they think. Yeah.
The club hoped to spearhead more projects in future, including training and offering sign language classes.
At the end of the contest, these students will have gained a lot. One thing we focus on learning is motivation. They will be motivated, they will have met with the other deaf persons who have succeeded, and they will see it is possible. Secondly, we now have sign language as a teaching subject in our institutions. The context is now bringing the reality that the students are able to know that now this sign language has been accepted as the language, and personally as a sign language teacher, I'm hoping I will have a easier time to deliver my content to the students when I'm teaching sign language than before, after now you are participating in this context.
The event was not only for competing but also to put forward the deaf culture and highlight some of the challenges when communicating with a person with hearing impairment.
The school being new, it had a few challenges that there are some subjects which we do not have teachers. Also, there are also very little or few resources in the institutions. The institution lacks things like a laboratory for teaching sciences and so on. But we think we are grateful to the government that now it has come in and it has started funding the institution from this year, and we are hoping in future, if the same funding continues, we shall be able to get all those resources we do not have.
Students from Kasarani Treeside for the Deaf were also invited to the event.
She's in Form 4 in the school at Kasarani Treeside Secondary School for the Deaf. He has come here today because they are entertaining in this event where they are celebrating the Sign Language Club, and they are expecting again they will also be coming. They are also thankful to the people because the visitors have been here, they have enjoyed it together, and they have signed it together.
The main purpose was for them to learn and experience firsthand what entails to sign language.
It was a nice opportunity to expose the deaf student so that they can see other deaf students who have succeeded or other deaf persons who have succeeded and interact with them. At the same time, they can see the possibility of them also making in life and coming to higher institutions of learning such as this one or any other institution of learning.
The event was also open to visitors, and those that attended were happy and thanked the event organizers.
You are listening and you do not know about sign language, or this is your first time listening to something related to deaf culture, I really recommend that you learn some sign language. It's very simple to learn. You can learn from you can start with the alphabet, which is very simple: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's very simple, and the deaf really appreciate it when you do this because they see that they care, you know. They're a minority, and when they see that society cares, it's really meaningful to them.
The students entertained the audience using signs and were hopeful that one day they will be able to join institutions of higher learning.
There is no conclusion to all this pain, but an answer that comes just the same. The negative side seems to win, but the positive side seems to glow.
In the quote of the day, we focus on Robert Hensel's quote that says, "There is no greater disability in society than the inability to see a person as more." What do you think?
For me, I think the bad judgment and the bad perception is when you look a person with what is outside rather than looking at what is inside his or her heart, because we all have different abilities and we can be able to perform to deliver in order to achieve what we want to achieve in our lives, because the greatest thing is the success that we have. Don't look at the physical attributes of a person, but instead focus on what the person is able and capable of doing.
True, that's so true. Hope you agree with her as well. Let's take a short break. We will be right back.
Keep moving, keep marching on. Keep moving, keep marching on.
Welcome back. If you have just joined us, this is Able Differently. Sophia Abdi is an activist who is physically challenged. She uses a wheelchair to aid her movement. Her story is a unique one. Take a look.
Sophia is the first human activist in Wajir County. She advocates for the rights of women and girls in a society whose culture works against the female members.
I was going on to get a lot of information. I decided to go for early retirement in 1994. Then I started practicing being an activist. Not that I have enough education or experience to do to that field, but I knew what was happening was wrong and I can make things to be right.
She explains what made her take the course.
I was fighting on a very negative culture that was there in our community. They have got different cultures. They have got different culture that a girl, if it is raped, the two parties negotiate and they just leave the criminal in a large way, keep on raping because he knows that his clan family has got some animals to give out, see, and all this. A girl is not taken to the hospital for any examinations. They just change some animals, and that is their culture.
In such a society, life has not been easy for her because she is seen as working against the culture.
Or to talk about that culture is a bit difficult. You must struggle because you are changing a culture which has been there for so long, and the people doesn't want to hear you because they prefer of what they are doing might be right for them. And to me, it is wrong what they are doing because to protect the criminal is also an offense. And those days, we didn't have gender sexual offenses acts in those days. So walikuwa wanashika watoto hapa, wanapatia maalama, sasa inaandikwa injuries, harm to a child and all this. The girl is raped. I struggled and I had a very challenging journey because they started against me. They are telling me, oh, I am changing their culture. I don't know who has sent me. Some of them are telling me I'm being misused by Western. I don't know who are these Western, even I don't know whom they are. But to me, my motive and my mission was to protect these girls who are being harmed in so many ways.
Winning cases in court is also a challenge.
When we take the rape cases to court, they go and negotiate. When the case is still in the court, they go and negotiate with the other party. And you might not see the lady, you might not see the witness, even you might not see the doctor. The doctor, if he comes and gives evidence, but where is the people? They are not there. It's only the accused who is there. And the court cannot keep the accused there. So they were using a lot of tactics. The elders are using a lot of tactics to make us frustrated. We were frustrated in so many cases.
She has been forced to run for her life several times and has scars that always remind her of her struggles.
The first case I had in Wajir was that a girl was harmed. She was harmed and I tried to say that I should take her to the police and all this. So I don't know what happened. And people see that this mother is now becoming too much. You must teach her a lesson, something like that, you see. So I went to a traditional dancers one night. And as I was coming on my way, it's when I'm stopped. You can see the back, and there's also one here.
Sophia has put her cause first to the extent of sacrificing her own marriage.
At the moment, I'm a single, but my former husband, we left each other because of interfering with me in my activities and telling me that I am interfering with the culture that has been there, that the elders are telling him, what is your wife doing? Why is your wife doing this? And then he told me I selected two. I either be with him and leave this job or I leave him. And I decided to leave him because it was important for me to rescue those girls who are suffering than be with a husband who is following others because of the negative culture that I'm fighting. I had a vision and I was expecting him to support me and he was not ready to support me. Then what could I have done? I had a vision which I could not stop.
One more obstacle to her work is mobility, and she is on a wheelchair.
For now 2 years and a half, I got rheumatoid arthritis, and I was supposed to go to India for medical treatment, and I could not get. Can you imagine me working for all of those years on voluntary in my county? I could not get a van resident to go to hospital. People want to be in a place where there's money. You see, some people say they cannot work without money. You see, they cannot move without money. Some of them were asking me, how are you doing this job? You know, some of them are even now, they're having the mentality that I'm being funded on this issue. And nothing. I'm just a volunteer activist who is fighting for the rights of women and girls.
Despite of all the challenges, she is happy that there are institutions that have recognized her work through the awards given.
As a journey I came from, is from 1995, excluding some few months of Nairobi and coming back. I got HSC medal, head of state commendation. I achieved in my work. I've got a recognition certificate from a humanitarian organization. I was awarded in Ethiopia. It is called HH, Helping Hand. It's called Helping Hand. It's like a medal. It's a recognition certificate, but it is a full medal. It's called HH. So I've got two. I've got so many certificates awarded by the Children Department, by different organizations for my working.
She hopes that long after she has gone, Wajir County will also see that her advocacy was worthwhile.
Human rights defenders, we have a problem. And we are urging the government, and we are urging Kenya National Human Rights Commission to make a proper statistic on human rights defenders' problem at the grassroots.
Keep moving, keep marching on.
To strengthen participation of persons with disabilities in the coming general elections, UDPK, together with other like-minded organizations, organized a national sharing forum and called for peaceful elections. Take a look.
The law provides for you to contest under a party. The parties must file their party membership list with IEBC at least 120 days before the election. So the issue here that you should be asking yourself is, was your name forwarded as a member of that party to IEBC within that time, which is the 120 days? If yes, if you withdrew your independent candidate intentions before that, then you can contest. But if you withdrew after, then the law bars you automatically from contesting under that political party.
The United Disabled Persons of Kenya, UDPK, held a national experience sharing forum that saw both persons with disabilities and those without disabilities from the 47 counties converge here in Nairobi.
We have groups of persons with disabilities all over the country. So those groups, they gather together to channel their rights. So we thought we have an organization which is going to channel their rights nationally. So we formed United Disabled Persons of Kenya. It was formed in 1989.
This is a meeting also to create awareness to the public that we are in the era of inclusion, and that the public also need to understand that people with disabilities have potentials and that they can also be active participants in governance processes, and therefore they also need to elect them, not to look into their disability, but to look at what they are able to do for the members of the public.
The theme for the forum was Inclusive, Fair and Peaceful General Election 2017.
We have our friends, that is persons with disabilities, who went through party primaries and they were successful. So we thought it is good to come and also motivate them to continue fighting, because these elective posts, they are not very easy. So they were able to go through. We have around 16 in number all over the country. At least they were able to go through their own parties. So all parties are inclusive here. And us as UDPK, we care for them all. We don't belong to any party. Our organization is non-partisan.
The event was mainly to strengthen the participation of persons with disabilities in matters of elections.
We encourage them also to actively participate in all aspects of life in the country. That is what we encourage them to do. Also to fight for their rights. That is the main goal. So we are the advocate of these persons. Nothing more.
All the key players during the elections were present to give out facts and respond to questions in how persons with disabilities have been catered for in the coming elections.
We refer to the election of 2013. Most of the counties could not comply to the representation of the count slots for persons with disability. And even the matters were taken to court, and court was well ruled with justice. But there's still some of the, in fact, let me be specific on my county, Bungoma County. They denied that opportunity to persons with disability. Where can you take role and ensure that these slots were given, they have to be given to persons with disability as it is articulated by the Constitution.
From the responses, it was clear that a milestone had been achieved since the last general election.
We work to ensure that the persons with disabilities participate in the electoral process. So we work with the various stakeholders who are involved in managing elections. And the reason why we are meeting here today is for these stakeholders to engage with persons with disabilities who are aspiring for various political positions. So we've come to ask questions to IBC on whether polling stations are accessible, questions around the work of political parties and how they're involving persons with disabilities in the list that they are compiling, and whether they are following the law to ensure that issues of inclusion are considered in all what they do.
The ORPP also encouraged both candidates and members of the public to report any form of malpractice.
If there is any support you want from us, please notify us in advance so that we can be able to prepare. I speak, but I'm simply a public relations officer. I'm a PR in police, but I speak for police. I'm given a big name unnecessarily. But I coordinate most of the issues between the public and my bosses. So I have access to my Inspector General and to his 2 deputies. And if you cannot get direct access to them, my office is open. You just walk in. You don't need an appointment.
The police also assured of their support and vigilance during the whole period. However, regulars were challenged to respect and support the police.
We are committed as the National Police Service to offer our services to persons with disabilities. We are committed.
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
The UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities states that state parties recognize the rights of persons with disabilities to work on an equal basis with others. This includes the right to the opportunity to gain a living by work freely chosen or accepted in a labor market and work environment that is open, inclusive and accessible to persons with disabilities.
On behalf of the team that made the program a success, I wish you a good evening, and remember to touch base with us on all our social media platforms to continue with the conversation. I've been your host, Ruth Mweni.
And me, Jairus Ongeta.
Bye-bye.
Mwangaza at the end of the road, though the walk is tougher, sijafa moyo, natamani sana future, and so I'm on the go. I'm never gonna give up, I got to keep hope alive. Eyes on the prize, lazima nifike, and with God by my side, lazima nishinde. Fike, yeah. Lazima nishinde.